The first narrative was built. With this, the main goal of the fourth scenario was achieved. What the hell is going to happen now? No! Why did you break the throne? There were people who were bewildered by the situation, while others were scared about what the angry Dokja would do. From the perspective of the people present, I was a sinner who made the fifth scenario difficult. Some people cried out to the Dokja. Make the absolute throne again! I'll join the scenario again! This time I will be the master of the throne!
The scenarios that have already ended can't be changed by anyone. Anything that happens to you from now on is the fault of that human.
The enemy Dokja's answer was cold. The Dokja pointed towards me while the wet shoulders of the gathered people shook.
A world with no kings? Okay, let's try it once. I'll see how well you can survive without a focal point.
The intermediate Dokja flicked his finger. Then the people of Gwanghamun started to disappear like smoke. People screamed and ran away. What is this all of a sudden? This was an unexpected development. I looked back and saw Jung Hee-won, Yu-sung-ah, Lee Gil-young, and the others calling out to me. Dokja Shi! The next moment, Yu-sung-ah disappeared. Then Lee Gil-young and Jung Hee-won. Next was Jung Min-sub and Lee Sung-kook. 1 minute after the Dokja flicked his finger, I was the only one remaining in Gwanghamun. The enemy Dokja looked at me with a creepy smile.
Please keep this in mind. The world is destroyed. It's because of you.
The moment I wanted to speak, there was a ringing sound. My body shook and I was moved elsewhere. It was accompanied by severe nausea and a headache. I lost consciousness because I consumed a great deal of energy. 10,000 coins have been earned as a settlement for the fourth scenario. I slept for quite a long time because I was tired from the excessive contact with the constellations. I even dreamt. Hey, aren't you awake? The moment I heard the voice, I realized it was my high school days. They were the days when I was beaten up by the school gangsters. Yes, there were times like this. It was a childish dream, but I became furious when I thought about it again. What? Why are you looking like that? Do you want to kill someone? My head fell back from the slap. Blood flowed from my cracked lips, and my tingling cheeks caused a feeling of shame. Arms, legs, and shoulders. Pain came from all these places. It might be a dream, but it was more painful than reality. Maybe it was because there was no fourth wall here. Why? If it's too much, stab me. Do you want to appear in the same newspapers as your mother? My clenched fist trembled, but I couldn't hit him. At that time, what I had been thinking. If only I was Yu Jong-uk. Yes, that's right. This is what I thought in my misery. It was a time when I was reading Ways of Survival. I saw the name on the uniform's name badge. Sung Min-woo. What was he doing now? I remember they'd gone to university and was working well. That was the first time I thought the world was unfair. I didn't know if he was still alive. Exclusive skill. Fourth wall is activated. My dream collapsed and I was left in the dark again. Exclusive skill. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 3 has been activated. Voices start to overlap. Hey, can you hear me? Are you okay? Representative Nim? Dokja, where are you? They were the familiar voices of people I knew. The words were conveyed through the third-person perspective. I knew who the voices belonged to without looking. Oh, why here? Dokja, can you hear me? There was a bar of various types of wine. Jung-hyun was frowning and sighing.
A love letter. I will meet that Ajishi again. Damn, why did I fall to the school?
Lee Jia was touching her cheeks as if she's been hit by someone. Why here? Lee Hyung-sung was trapped in a nearby military base. I could roughly guess what happened based on people's reactions. The people in Gwanghamun seemed to be moved to places they had an association with. That's why Lee Jia was out of school, while Lee Hyung-sung was sent to a military base. Lee Hyung-sung was the most pathetic one. Maybe it was the damn intermediate Dokja's doing. He created a situation where the incarnations were scattered all over the place. No matter how irrelevant it was to the main scenario, the intermediate Dokja would surely be reprimanded. I looked at the confused people and muttered, I'm fine, so take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. They couldn't hear me, but I hoped the words would reach them. Exclusive skill, Omniscient Reader Viewpoint Stage 3 has ended. I slowly returned to consciousness as my eyelids opened. Black clouds were still swirling over Seoul like a black hole. I got up and looked around. It was a panoramic view of Seoul. It was a place where skyscrapers and high-rise buildings could be seen. That reminded me. I should be moved to a place related to me. At first glance, I looked at the rooftop of a high-rise building. This place? Damn. I thought it was possible, but I really didn't want to come here. A few constellations are looking forward to the words you will say to yourself. Microsoft? This was the rooftop of the company that I work for, Microsoft. A few constellations are disappointed. The constellations who don't like to be rushed are pleased. When I saw the indirect messages that came to my mind, I felt like the constellation's focus on me had expanded after I broke the absolute throne. Constellation, prisoner of the Golden Headband, threatens the newly appeared constellations. The constellation, secretive plotter, is coughing at the pretentious people. Why did I come here? A street and soul without any cars. The offices with the lights turned off. I felt nostalgia as I saw these familiar buildings. It was the first time I went to work in a month. I felt really weird when I remembered coming up to the rooftop with Deputy Yun after being scolded by Team Leader Han. When previously I had been testing new games, now I was cutting people with a blade. Was Deputy Yun still alive? I turned my head and saw messages flashing in the air. There were 10 days before the start of the 5th scenario. The snares were flowing as I expected. If the Absolute Throne was destroyed, Seoul Dome would get a respite for 10 days. The 5th scenario, the Great Hall. During this grace period, I had to find a way to clear the 5th scenario without the Absolute Throne. A sub-scenario is in process to supplement to the interlude. Sub-scenario, survival activities. Category, sub. Difficulty, C+. Clear conditions, survive for 10 days in the ruined city. You should eat 3 meals a day and get at least 6 hours of sleep a day. Don't forget to pay 500 coins per day before going to sleep every night. There will be a clear penalty if you violate any of these 3 rules. Duration, 10 days. Compensation, none. Failure, death. This is a scenario where a coin event is applied. All monsters in the scenario have a certain probability of dropping coins. I roughly knew how things had gone. The existing scenario was completely destroyed, so they hastily put together a sub-scenario. Furthermore, it overlapped with a coin payment event. I thought they were going to do it soon, but I hadn't expected to start already. A survival fee of 500 coins a day. It was a scenario that couldn't be cleared without a coin event. Anyway, now I had to move. I couldn't miss out on the chance to replenish my coins. Then people's voices were heard from below the roof. Drag it, quickly! I looked down and saw armed people entering the building, with others behind them. Minosoft was located near Sochogu, but in my memories, there were no king forces in the Socho area. Then who were they? I carefully observed the armed people and realized something. Yes, they were the Wanderers. Each of them had a different way of living in this destroyed world. Some would become a king, and others would become the people. Someone else would become a Wanderer without any affiliation. And Socho was the land of Wanderers. I turned on my smartphone to look up information on this area. Unfortunately, I was out of battery. I needed to find a place to recharge the battery, or find a spare battery. I opened the roof door and went downstairs. I passed through the president's office, the planning department, and the finance department. I walked through the office of the QA team that I worked for a while before I stopped. It's fair to say that my memory was quite good. I went to the office and opened the drawers one by one. It was because I thought a spare battery might be left behind. At that time, someone entered with a flashlight. I reflexively pulled out my sword, but there was a strange noise. Eh? Dokja? It is Dokja! And I saw the man's face. Deputy Yun? Ah, you're alive! It was Deputy Yun from the QA team. It was really terrible. I heard from Deputy Yun about what happened at Minosoft. To be exact, it was what happened after I got off from work. The first scenario started for all the people on the night shift. Deputy Yun spoke while holding his nose. The corridor of the company was filled with rotting body odor and maggots. Some of the bodies had faces of people I knew, but I didn't see any mourning or sadness on Deputy Yun's expression. Did you know? That guy over there? Team Manager Han? I killed him. Why, that bastard. I stabbed him in the neck with a ballpoint pen. It really was like a game. Deputy Yun? Sorry, is it uncomfortable talking about this? It was a natural change, but I felt bitter seeing Deputy Yun's changed appearance. No. Maybe this is what Director Yun was like now. Are you alone here? Huh? Oh, I'm not alone. By the way, where was Dokja? I didn't see you in the company. What group are you affiliated with? Were you somewhere else? Yes, well, something similar. I was originally on the Gwahumun side of the bridge when Deputy Yun didn't listen to the end as he interrupted. I see. Dokja, your luck is really bad. Huh? There's no need to pass through all the scenarios. Don't you know? If you hide well and use moderate tricks, most scenarios will be broken by other people. There's no need for you to risk your life. It's very comfortable despite the world being like this. It was true. If you became a wanderer who didn't belong to anyone, you get rid of some scenarios that must be cleared and have the main scenarios cleared by someone else. There are many such people in Seoul Dome. The problem was that if you lived in hiding and were caught by surrounding groups, you would die. There was no prey as good as wanderers moving alone. You don't have to worry. Wanderers also have a lot of power. Is there need to be a king to build power? We exited Minosoft. People were crowded around the company, and there were a bunch of wanderers gathered. Some of them were seen moving kidnapped people. At this time, one armed man asked, Yun Sanghoshi, who is this? He's one of my coworkers. We met by chance. A wanderer. No one from our group is accepted, do you know? Deputy Yoon nodded lightly, and the man passed us by. I looked at the man and asked, "Who is this person?" "The manager of the coin farm." "Coin farm?" Dokja doesn't know. For a moment, a dismal expression appeared on Deputy Yoon's face. Coin farm. It reminded me of something. But these guys already started it? Look here. There are 2 people trapped in cages at regular intervals, like it was a zoo or police station. The wanderers around them screamed with excitement. "Hey, are you kidding me? Fight harder. Who will give you coins if you look like this?" Inside the cage, 2 people were fighting each other. Blood splashed, eyes were pulled out, and a man with guts hanging out cried like an animal. The constellation who likes the Colosseum is delighted. I looked closely, and there were several such cages, and all the cages contained fighting. There was one cage with a naked woman and several men inside, while another cage contained a lone woman, like the men had already finished with her. I could hear pained moans and cries from all corners. Outside the cages, the wanderers holding their penises were laughing. "Next is my turn, you bastard!" Constellation who likes excitement is delighted. Deputy Yoon opened his mouth. In the game industry, consumers were the king. In Microsoft, the president was the king. Dokja, who is the king in the new world? Are you depending on the sponsorship of the constellations? Yes, sometimes there are crazy constellations like this. The more stimulating the site, the more coins the constellations will give. It's like bits. We get coins from these people, and in return, we provide them with food to survive. Deputy Yoon threw a chocolate bar into one cage. The one behind bars cried out and grabbed for it. There were those in this world who'd first identified the system and figured out how to exploit it. The coin farm was the structure that those who first understood the world devised in order to take advantage of the system. I see people from our company. They were from our company. I realized for certain after hearing his cold tone, the Deputy Yoon that I knew from Microsoft, he didn't exist in this world anymore. "Hey, there are new slaves. Imprison them." "Yes." The slaves were moved to the prisons. I was stunned to see a familiar face among them. Deputy Yoon smiled. "Ooh, there's a new toy. Hey, strip her and bring her to the cage." A petite person with white skin, fine black hair that fell to her shoulders, and slightly raised eyebrows. I rubbed my eyes, but there was no doubt. The first apostle, plagiarist Han Soo-young, was here.